very good. And she said, no, she said, I still live by myself, I still clean my own house.
One of the nice things about
And she said,
it's a track.
and I like cars, and I don't play anywhere near enough, because I know all the time.
So we weren't gonna really get out, you know.
She was just.
That was always,
I know, it is fun.
With the grant
Yeah, and a lady came in today and
there could be a grant
she
for
got a copy of the
water
driver's
condition.
license, and when I was putting it in.
but that's one of the things that one of our many grants is actually talking about walking. Yeah.
We gotta start from there.
And she was very, you know, jovial and
Everything live.
they're just.
Yeah, turn the audio on.
She's pretty happy.
Silence, yes.
Good for them. I still read the
I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 14th, 2022 Town of Alexandria Board meeting. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I better go to the other. Abstract number 12, November 18th to December 14th. I need a motion to pay the bill, approve and pay the bills. I've looked at them. I'm fine with them.
I have not. You're right.
You've gone through them all?
What's it? Yeah.
So is this what we're talking about right here? Okay.
But I'm only one ahead, so.
Biggest thing is
I'll make them.
at least one of us go through every single bill.
Okay. I'll make a motion then. Second? Second by Ron. Any further discussion? All those in,
Have we seen give me a minute here. Have we seen a financial, you know, like a P&L?
no.
So we have no budget to actual report right now.
We don't have a P&L. I know she worked on getting Mike some answers on where he stood. But she had, Michael San was online with her at the same time today to try to get that thing taken care of, and so that we can have P&Ls, but we don't have it.
That would be nice. That would be real nice. Are we within the realm of our budget right now? Do we know?
Where we are?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got figures, and just, I mean, she said there's nothing to worry about, we're in good shape. The biggest one she's concerned about is Mike Tibbles' budget, and I think she's narrowed that down to about within $1,000. I think is what she told me.
That he has $1,000 of wiggle room?
Yes.
It's not
I guess
money.
if somebody used that term. Yeah. So any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None.
So we're gonna be setting up a meeting for the end of the month for our year end. Are we gonna have numbers then?
We better, I mean, we're gonna want to, right? And
Nice to have it tonight.
We have to. They don't want to, have to.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be crazy not to, I guess. Wherever if Mike was on, wherever's necessary, and
Yeah. I mean, I was to the point of talking about this last week, that if we gotta get Mike Lasad to come here for a week, whatever we gotta do.
Yep.
It's gotta get done.
Yep.
Because we got the AUD, we got a lot of stuff coming up that we gotta have, that stuff that needs to be done. Besides the fact that people that are running our departments to know where they're at.
Sure.
I was gonna say, it'd be nice to have the heads of all of our departments get a proper budget to actual every month, so they know where they're at, and where they're going.
Just so the public knows, so we
From the beginning of the
changed
year,
financial
they changed
software
it.
company, or financial software. We were on QuickBooks. We've been on QuickBooks since 2015. We've been advised to not use QuickBooks for municipal accounting. We've been advised to use municipal accounting, fund accounting. So we changed to what was recommended. It's called Advanced Business Systems. Enhanced, EBS. So
And
we
build
changed to
that.
that, a recommendation from our accountant, a recommendation from 2 nearby towns that are on it, stuff like that. We changed to that in July, and they can't get it to balance, and they've been working for, I wanna say they've been working for 2 to 3 weeks on trying to get it to balance. And they're getting closer, is all they're telling me, because I keep asking, how you coming? So, they're getting closer, because we really need to have this stuff for our end of the year.
And the holidays are coming up, so like Mike
And
was
the
on,
problem we
time
have-
is gonna be,
And the problem we have is that our bookkeeper, Nicole, today was her last day. She's going in for surgery tomorrow. She hopes to be back here in 13 days to do the payroll that needs to be done. That's what her plan is.
13 days, which is when we're gonna be meeting.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, she's concerned about the payroll, but, so in other words, no work is gonna get done on that. The computer has been logged in, so Mike Lasana has full access to our financials,
He can do that remotely,
right, as of today.
so the question's gonna be all up to Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike does not need to call.
Not if he's on the computer.
Mike would come here and help us out.
Well,
No, he
with this
does it
kind of
remotely.
stuff,
He gets into her computer room.
yeah, you do it remotely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying to be able to answer the questions that we have, it'd be nice to have them.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta have numbers before we even have questions.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's like, which,
Yeah.
she first the chicken or the egg, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something that like one of his associates could do, or, it doesn't necessarily have to be a CPA doing
No, it doesn't
that.
have to be the top guy.
Yeah.
They could send up somebody here that, or have them do that from there remotely.
Right.
I mean, my discussion with Nicole this afternoon is, she was there, he was on the computer, they were doing stuff, and she gave him complete access to everything. Hopefully he can get this thing done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the financials. Did we do the minutes? I need a motion to approve the minutes. I've looked at the 2 minutes, and Sandy and Donna have done a great job of putting that stuff together for us. So I need a motion to,
I'll make a motion.
motion by Mike, second by Gene.
For both of them, November 9th and November 16th.
Yes. All those in favor? Signify by saying aye. All those opposed, none.
You seconded that?
Gonna go down to order, the fuel oil, diesel.
Actually, the first thing I have on here is public concerns, and we had a couple people that have talked to me that wanted to speak in public. One of them is here, and one of them I think there's gonna be on the cell phone. Okay. This is Mr. Furman.
Yep.
If you wanna get up and introduce yourself.
Do I get to stand anywhere else? I don't know how it works.
Just come right here in front.
Alright, so, my name is Eric Furman, I'm a resident of Tennis Island, I'm actually a property owner there. I'm actually in the middle of what's been kinda, I feel like, ground zero of the short-term rental situation. I live on one side is one of the persons that actually sued my other neighbor, physically attached to me on the other side. I've been watching what the town board's been doing. I know there's a committee looking at short-term rentals, and I've seen a lot of voice about their concerns about short-term rentals, but I haven't seen the other side, or I wasn't even reached out to, right? If I'm in the middle of ground zero, what we're gonna call it, nobody reached out and said, you know, what's your feedback, what's going on? So a little background on me, I've been on the island for 24 years. My parents have been living there for 24 years, or 20 years they recently passed. I inherited the property, and I've been owning it for 4 years. I come up multiple times a week for full weeks in the summer with my kids. I'm not just a weekend homeowner, right? We have a lot of them up here. I don't know if I can ask questions to the board or if I can submit questions to get answers, but some of the questions that I have is, how did the committee start, and how many people, like, was it several complaints? Was it a small subset? Was it just the people from Tennis Island? Was it outside Tennis Island?
It was, I'm gonna say this is the complaints that I feel that, you know, as far as several, there was a fair amount of complaints. I'm not saying there was 50 or 100, but there was 5 or 10 complaints, okay? And they were not just Tennis Island, there were other areas, because I went to see some of the other areas where there was VRBOs that had a 4-bedroom house with 4 SUVs parked on the lawn and the neighbors, you know, stuff like that. That's the calls that I get.
Okay.
When stuff like that's going on. I really haven't had calls and complaints from Tennis Island until the whole thing kind of erupted a little bit in the last 3-4 months.
Yeah, it's been going on for a year and a half. 2 years.
Yeah.
No, and that's why I wanted to know, because you said 5 or 10 complaints, right?
Yeah.
And we have a big community. Some of the things that I want to bring up to everybody is short-term rentals has been part of the Thousand Islands going back when I was 8 years old on the Canadian side. And you all remember it was, hey, do you know someone that has a rental? Yeah, you know, and you didn't have a review of the person. You didn't know the history of the person. Then it turned into newspaper articles, right? Then the internet came around and it was websites, but you didn't know who that person was. And I'm not sure if people know this, but Airbnb has reviews of the property owners, but it also has
the renters.
But I also have the renters. So I have a review. I use Airbnb around the world. I love it. I think it's a great thing. I have actually been declined renting properties because I have 2 young children. And that's the property owner's thing, right? What I want to make sure on is that this is communicated to the community, right? I know that the committee's talked about even restricting and blocking Airbnbs fully. I've heard to limiting the permits, to doing all this. Has the business owners or even the Airbnb owners been communicated that they possibly would have financial impact if the committee decides to ban Airbnbs?
I mean, what's happened here, so they've had some meetings, okay? The meetings are streamed live, so anybody can watch the meetings. The public's watched those. I've gotten some phone calls about the meetings. Some of the people on the committee own Airbnbs and representing themselves and other friends that have our, you know, Airbnbs or whatever they're called. So that's kind of the status there is where that stands.
Well, the other thing too, that all the committee will do is make a recommendation. It isn't their whatever they say.
Okay. Yeah, it's my concern is, you know, I'm a river rat. You look at my license plate, it says river rat. There's a decision based on the small 5 or 10 complaints. I'm guessing a bulk of them on Tennis Island recently, right? And Tennis Island had renters for, even my property before my parents bought it was a short-term rental through a website and even phones. Is looking at the whole picture, the financial impact that it could be, not only to the community, right? We've had COVID, we've had high waters, low waters, right? We all can agree. You know, the Airbnbs, like the 3 vehicles you mentioned. What if it's my property and I have people staying at my property and they're parked on my lawn? Am I gonna get a call from the town?
That town has no authority there.
So, question is, if somebody is renting a property, they have the right to the property per the deed. What's the difference between a short-term rental and a homeowner parking vehicles in the front yard? It's an honest question.
I mean, I believe in our ordinance, it says how many registered vehicles that you can have there. That's one of the things that the town has in its ordinance.
So I can call my neighbor for having guests on their property parked in their yard, then?
I'm not sure about that.
It's a good question, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you mentioned the cars, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be challenging, it's just, I'm a fact-driven person. I'm a data, I do contracts. I think I spoke to you or I came on site and we went through even the legal aspects. That's some of the concern that I have is you say, well, short-term rentals can't park in the front yard of those 3 vehicles. Well, I'm a homeowner, what if I do that? Is the town gonna come? Another question I have is, what if I loan my property out to my friends? And my neighbors complain, am I gonna get the town lawyers submitting paperwork to me? Because I recently heard now that a small subset group has had the town lawyers submit paperwork to renters on Tennis Island saying they're running a marina. So now my taxpayer dollars are being used to fight something for a small subset of group, right? That's concerning to me. That's using the town for a small subset group. What's gonna happen then when people who are getting sued by the town for the small subset start suing the town? Now I have to pay what our tax dollars are gonna be used for attorney fees for the others, right? That's concerning. So I'll end that there and just say that's kind of my feedback or questions, and I will maybe submit some more. But I want to give you my actual experience about short-term rentals on Tennis Island. I have 2 young kids, 13 and 8. The one neighbor connected to me right locally is always communicating with me, telling me who's coming up. In fact, those return renters, possible property owners that want to buy properties. I've never seen late people after 9 p.m. They're always indoors. I've never had a party, ever seen a party. I've seen one car parked in the front yard. Well, guess what? I park in my yard too, okay? The second part is I've actually had returning renters with my kids do a treasure hunt. When we showed up, they gave a note and they go find the next street thing. Go find the next one. That doesn't sound like horrible people to me, right? They got kites. They did a water balloon war in the backyard with an older couple with their son was 21 and girlfriend was 22. So I'm trying to let you all know, like, Airbnb and short-term rentals, majority of the people are not crazy. I've never, when I go, I'm respectful and stuff. I'll stop and go, does anyone have any questions on that? Like, I've been in the middle of it, and I've dealt with the people that don't want short-term rentals actually taking aggression out on me and my children. They actually blocked my easement on my dock. They put flower pots blocking my 6-foot easement to access my dock because I did not conform and join the group to ban Airbnbs. Right? And that's a local Tennis Island fight. And it went to Supreme Court, by the way, and guess who won? The short-term renters won in the coordinates to the covenants on Tennis Island. So now there's this avenue, and it seems like it's being politicized, and the town's being used for the wrong reasons.
So our situation, as Mike was saying, is we've got the committee, there's 11 people on the committee, they're working on creating some documents and what they decide to do, and they will have to, it would come out of committee and it would go in front of the town board.
Okay. I know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the public, everyone's aware of the Tennis Island situation,
Yeah.
but it is widespread throughout the town. It's not just Tennis Island, but Tennis Island is the easiest one to point to because of the lawsuits that have been going on and everything. But Airbnb and VRBO have had I mean, they're in business to make money. They don't want problems with the properties.
No.
So they're reviewing their landowners like yourself, homeowners. Mm-hmm. They're reviewing people that rent to try to keep these so that the only kind of Airbnb people are like the people that you've had very good experiences with.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, anytime you're dealing with the public, there's a certain number of people that don't conform. And Airbnb and VRBO are trying to take care of that because the regulations that are widespread, not just in town of Alexandria, but are being discussed all over as far as the state of New York goes, is not conducive to their business. And good homeowners, okay, would take care of that. It's just, it changes the character of a neighborhood.
It does, but what about, me loaning out my house, right? I plan on loaning my cottage out to my friends with no income, and we'll have a contract, free use, you have right to enjoyment of the property. What's any,
I'm not saying it can't be done, but there needs to be a way. I had a friend who had a restaurant downtown, and when he had a problem and it was involved with the village, he would call the mayor up. If it was 2 o'clock in the morning and he got woke up over a problem downtown, he called the mayor up. And he said, if I'm going to deal with this problem, you're going to be awake too. And so the homeowner here has a problem right next door. To keep it as simple as possible, I'd want to be able to call that homeowner up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, your renter's right here, woke me up. All this, stuff that just shouldn't happen,
No.
And that would all take care of itself. And so it's as simple as we just don't want the negative stuff to go on. You enjoy yourself when you come up. Everybody should be able to enjoy themselves without having their peace and quiet ruined.
Oh, no.
Just if everybody would just treat everyone with respect. That's why unfortunately, we have all the laws we have. It's because there was a reason, I guess. The less laws, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But when there's an issue addressed, we can't turn a blind eye to it either.
100% agree.
But it is widespread in the town because we've got a lot of waterfront property which lends itself to Airbnb, VRBO, inside the village of Alexandria Bay. I mean, talk to people in the village of Clayton. It's a widespread situation.
Oh, no, I know. And like I said, I'm not here to beat up anybody, but it's, from looking from my side on the outside and seeing the timeline, it's concerning, right, in how things are being handled. Yeah. Right, and not everybody is aware of it. Yes, the things are posted, but I have the next speaker up on the phone, and there's no phone on the desk for people that are homeowners that up here, residents that own properties. there's not an easy way for them to have a voice in the town either, right? It was like, and I think that could be an opportunity for improvement.
Well, I believe there's a telephone number posted right now on this
On our
streaming.
website to
Is
call.
there? Okay.
Yeah, so if they,
Which is my
Brent's
cell phone,
telephone
that would do
number
the same
is.
thing that we're
Okay.
gonna do in
Yeah.
your.
So, like, and I'm a support, and like, I don't want crazy loud neighbors, and I've been on the island forever, and I've seen parties on the island where they go to 2 o'clock in the morning and they're homeowners, right? So
Right.
that's where the police get involved, right? Because one of my other questions is, how many police reports have been for Airbnbs around the town? Is there a report on that?
We don't have a police force.
But it's a valid question, right? If there's only been 5 calls on, I know, how many Airbnbs are estimated in the town?
There's a lot, like Ronnie's saying, I've heard big numbers.
At the committee, they're talking 600.
Okay, so 600. Out of the
Even though I don't-
600, how often are the police called on those? Like, that's a stat that would be very valuable to have, right?
My understanding is the committee is a balanced committee, that there's pro and con on the committee.
Yeah.
And the hope is that they could come up with something that everybody can live with.
Okay.
That's the hope.
Could I suggest something? Because I know the tax, like the hotel tax, looking at the Airbnbs in town, use that money for bettering the community. Be the forefront of the community, the towns that are doing it, and invest that money into parks or things for the village and stuff, right?
We're regulated.
Well, that's a county issue.
It's a county
That's a
thing?
county
Okay, I didn't know that. I was just thinking, like,
No,
Ronnie could really explain.
well, you and I could take it offline, because I don't want to take up more time, but that's really what I wanted to say. You know, I drove up, I live in Rochester, but I drove up to sleep, go to open my closed cottage right now. But to be able to speak in front of everybody, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, me being a young, I'm the youngest person on the island, my family is, and so I'm the new guy, as you'll want to say, so people look at me and think I'm gonna be the partier, and guess what? I'm not the partier. So,
Yeah.
any questions? Anything else?
I just wanna make sure that everybody's aware that they do have meetings. I've been passing out the minutes and the meetings. You can all go onto the website and you can go back and look at the meetings and listen to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this up there?
yeah, yep.
Hello? Anybody there?
Yes, thank you.
Can you turn this up or?
Is your speaker loud?
Yeah, or definitely ask him to speak up.
Mike, you're gonna have to yell.
Okay, I'll speak loudly. Can people hear me?
Not very well. I might have you call my phone, Mike, because that doesn't seem to be very loud. You've got my number, right?
Yep, I'll do it right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
I hope mine's louder than that. I'm not sure. I think it is.
Don't you have that little speaker thing?
Yeah, I do.
That thing really worked well.
Yes, I do, if we need to.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, that's quite a bit better. I think we'll be good with that. Everybody okay with that? Yep. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Martin.
Good. My name is Mike Martin. I am the resident at 46615 Tennis Island. Our main residence is in Dallas, Texas area. You know, I am the one that is one of the 2 defendants on Tennis Island, my wife and I. My wife's name is Lillian. And I just wanted to make sure that the town council understood, you know, my history, because I think we're being labeled as the Texans who are from outside the area and coming up there and trying to change the place. I just wanted to let you know my history. I've spent my entire life, summers, on the Thousand Islands. My family goes back 4 generations on both sides in the area. My mother's grandfather built a house in 1902 on Watch Island off of Fisher's Landing and owned that island. We owned it for almost 100 years through 4 generations. On my father's side, I have 4 generations of Martins that have been in the Watertown area. My 3 ancestors are all buried in Watertown, and I will be buried there as well. My wife Lil and I purchased our property on Tennis Island in January of 2020 after looking for the perfect spot for 5 years. The property needed extensive work to bring it back from major disrepair, but we were up for the task. In March of 2020, of course, the COVID shutdown happened, so we were not able to get the work done and be able to rent that summer. Things stopped completely. So we had to start renting in 2021. And we had a lot to learn. Just coming out of the shutdown, we did not know what to expect, but luckily we were able to secure 11 weeks. We rent for a full week, Saturday to Saturday, so we don't have people arriving and departing every 2 to 3 days. We recognize that that would be more upsetting. We also recognize that that would promote families coming to stay and not a couple of kids partying. We did have one trying week in late July of 2021 when our renters made some mistakes. They showed up with 4 boats, they fished from our neighbor's dock, sat on their kayaks on their dock, and did some irritating things. Nothing drastic, and all issues were addressed and corrected immediately. After that experience, I instituted new, more stringent rules for our renters and did much more checking on how things were going. And Eric, who just spoke, was there during that summer as well as this most recent summer. After the first summer, we knew a few of the neighbors were unhappy with the fact that we were renting on the island. We tried to speak to them directly with each one of them so we could listen and find amicable solutions. This, however, this is how I was raised to treat people. They would have none of it, and some even called me names. They just wanted to take legal action with no attempt to handle it with civility, Before we purchased there, we had done our due diligence and knew that renting was not prohibited in any way. That was part of the reason that we purchased there. We plan on retiring there. It's only a few years away for us, but we want to supplement, some of the cost of the repairs that we had to do and paying the town taxes and everything by having the property used by renters when we're not able to be there. It's also good for the town to have renters spending money in the businesses around the area with such a limited time to be able to make money. We knew that renting was allowed there compared to other developments like Tennis Island North and Stonegate. We believe that they delayed filing the lawsuit until May of 2022, trying to mess up our rental season. It did not. We hired counsel and won the lawsuit, which I think you've all been advised about. Now they are trying to come at us through you, the town council, and use your law firm to attack us. Our council has responded to your letter, and we just are wondering how long it'll be before we hear a response on that. And we don't want to be kept out in limbo indefinitely on that. Considering all that has happened, we still want to be good neighbors, but at the same time, we will not be pushed around. For the season of 2022, we tried to get longer rentals to appease the neighbors, and after listening to them, we rented for 10 weeks and only had 5 renters during that time. One took 4 weeks, 2 weeks at a time. And the only reason they did that was because we had other previous commitments. This is what the neighbors have said that they want, long-term renters. Yet those same neighbors verbally abused my renters who were interested in taking an entire summer in 2023. Not too smart from my perspective. That same neighbor saw fit to ask one of my renters to help her with 3 different issues at her falling down property. Fix an umbrella on her deck, kill a bee's nest from underneath the deck, and something else that I cannot recall. Then, that same neighbor had the audacity to eat a dinner with those same renters on my deck when she has a pending lawsuit against us. Just unbelievable in my eyes. And do you remember the renters that I spoke about from July who had the boats and the fish from the dock? That same neighbor, the neighbor that was suing us, invited that same renters to sit by their campfire in the last evening of their stay. That speaks volumes to me on how they were not mad at the time, which is when you would be the most upset. I could go on, but I do not think it is necessary. The bottom line is that this is neighborhood issues that should be handled respectful communication, working together to keep the peace. Now, after 35 years of Tennis Island Happy River existence, we have the Hatfields and the McCoys. In the end, the majority are on our side and want to have the ability to rent their property property if they desire to in the future. One last note. The short-term rental committee has been meeting and we have been watching. There's a list of there's a list of 11 people who are on the committee, but yet only 5 or 6 people show up to the meetings. And I know the ones that are showing up are on the other side of the fence. You might want to ask the ones who have joined the committee to actually attend. In closing, our rough estimate, what each family will spend in the area is $2,500 per week in restaurants, gift shops, marinas, and bars. I would think that the town's business owners would want to capitalize on those dollars, especially after 2 seasons of excessive high water and 2 seasons of COVID lockdowns. I would think that this town council will want those dollars for their local businesses too. So that's the main thing that I have to say. I'm happy to answer any questions. As I said earlier, we want to be good neighbors. We will be good neighbors, and we will take into consideration reasonable requests that any neighbor ever has.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I just want to also add to that the committee, you're correct, it does have 11 people. The last 2 or 3 meetings, I usually am here when they start the meeting and see if there's anything they need, and then I leave. You're right, there's 4 or 5 people, but the other thing that I do know is I have a lot of the others that aren't there contact me, and they are involved through the stream or through their phones.
Okay, did not know that.
They live out of town, they can't be here, or they're summer people or whatever it may be, and they access the meeting and what goes on at the meeting through our electronic system here.
Understand.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you tell us what the status is of the latest letter that we got? I know our lawyer's been talking to your lawyer, but at this point, the word that we got back is that your lawyer has a lot on his plate right now, and this is far down the list.
Yes, he's going to be here tonight for our executive session to talk to us about this situation.
Okay. We appreciate any response we can get.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, that's really what I had. Anybody has any questions for me? I think Eric Furman is like you said, stuck in the middle, but he's a reasonable person who has seen things for what they are, and our renters on the whole have been very, very good. We had 0 complaints in the season of 2022.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Anybody else have any questions? No. I think we're all set. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'll be in contact with any questions, Brent.
So we had a couple of people speaking from Tennis Island about the short-term rental situation, and that was the second one. That was Mr. Furman, who just left, was the first one.
Okay.
Just give
You guys can fill me in later.
heads up.
Okay, we continue on with it.
Yeah, we can talk about it when
Yep.
executive session, if it's appropriate.
Anybody else?
Any other public concerns?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on here. Correspondence, we should do those fuel bids. Just one?
Just one.
One bid, and this was handed in before 4 o'clock today, right? Yep. Heating oil, diesel fuel, non-ethanol, gasoline, and kerosene. Dear board members, Mirabito Energy Products proposes the following for heating oil, diesel fuel, non-ethanol, gasoline, and kerosene. There's a lot here. Heating oil, posting, rack, Syracuse, New York, $3.3375 a gallon. Fixed differential, 0.3875 per gallon. Fluctuating bid price as of 12/1, $3.7250 per gallon. Including tax, New York State, $3.7299 a gallon with tax and fees. Rates effective 11/1/2002, or no, 1/1/2023. Diesel fuel, Valero Rack, Syracuse, 3.6800 a gallon. Differential, 0.35. Fluctuating bid price, $4.03 per gallon. Including tax in New York State, 4.0349 a gallon. Clear kerosene, Huguenot Rack, Syracuse, New York, $5.9548 per gallon. Fixed differential, 35 cents a gallon. Fluctuating bid price, $6.3048 per gallon. Including tax, 6.3097 a gallon. The last one, non-ethanol, Freepoint Rack, Syracuse, $3.5825 a gallon. Fixed differential, 0.3775. Fluctuating bid price, 3.96. Including tax, 3.9649 a gallon. Term of contract, January 1st to December 31st. Fluctuating prices based on the posting, the day of delivery, plus the fixed differential. We can furnish contact information on local contractors for furnace repair or maintenance upon request. Please notify accepted bid by writing, notification to Morabito. And the rest is the bid proposal certifications. That was the prices, notice to bidders. This is our advertisement and our specifications. We have one bid.
How many options?
No. I would take all that to be the rack price, and then what they get, which is like the 35 cents, 37 3/4 cents
Yeah.
for bringing it. Right.
For what now?
For transporting it, picking it up and
Yeah.
bringing it to us, so.
Yeah.
That part stays the same, and then
Whatever rack.
the rack is a rack.
Yeah.
Goes up, goes down, we go along for the ride.
Yep.
And it sounds like, it's not like the beginning of the month, it's the day of that they.
Yeah.
Right.
Those prices change every day. Yep. So what do we wanna do?
Make a motion to accept them since they're the only ones we have.
Yep.
Sean's made a motion to accept Morabito's bid. Ronnie seconded that motion. Any discussion?
Not really.
Not much to
No
discuss.
discussion. Motion to discuss. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Okay. Sandy, when we get a chance in the morning, we should make sure that this has got the proper documents and certifications with it. Next item here is, we did the bid opening. I've got a report on the grants that I just wanna do briefly. So we've applied for 4 grants. I'm just giving everybody an update. Office of Parks and Rec Historical Preservation.
This is for the Bonnie Castle, is that?
This is for the Bonnie Castle property. Office of Parks
Town
and Rec.
Recreation Center, you mean?
Thank you.
Town Recreation Center?
Acquisition application, this is, we are applying for 50% of the acquisition costs. We have not heard, I think we're supposed to hear in the next 60 days. That's the case with 3 of these out of 4. Second one, Office of Parks and Recreation, Historical Preservation, Trails Application, Rehabilitation and Development of Land, Walking Trails, Topographic Study, and Geotechnical Study. No award announcement yet. The next one, the Green Innovation Grant Program, we're not sure. They say that they've looked at it. It sounds like they said that we were overlooked, so that sounds like a no to me. Any idea about that, Rob? We're overlooked?
Overlooked.
He's gonna check, yeah, what's that mean?
Yeah.
Just
Means
It's not good, right?
right.
Yeah.
a polite way of saying no?
Have you heard that?
Okay.
That's-
I have not heard that term.
Well, I wasn't, did you get that tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron, I believe, said that to us last time we met.
Okay.
which was actually a while ago. I think we were overlooked for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the NYSERDA grant, proposed for $4 million, new construction program, research and development for energy efficient heating, cooling, building using electricity with geothermal for heating, cooling, along with thermal ice storage system for cooling special events. No announcement yet. So that's just an update on where we stand on the grants that we've applied for. Now I'm gonna go back to Mr. Fricola, who traveled here to talk to us tonight about a project that he is, thinking about doing at the Bonnie Castle Stables property. He's left some papers here with us that.
Thank you.
Proposing, project, we're doing 3 phases. An amphitheater, water park, and hotel. And I don't need, I just need about like 30 acres. Talked about maybe doing some sharing or parking. And I mean, I think this is a perfect spot. I've already spoken to developers, and, you know, they're behind it, so, and they like the idea, but they said the first thing you have to do is get a piece of land. And I had a couple options, like, to talk to the surveyor, and we made up some land. It was like just a little section here, and then back here to develop it, but you're putting other things in right in the center.
We would like to put up both fields there. That's always been our thought.
So I could just take just a little bit from here, because it just need probably about 300 or 400 feet to start, and then just become larger. Because the parking is really convenient over here for the water park. Because the water park, you need convenient parking. The amphitheater, people will walk.
So we're talking about shared parking. He's not talking about purchasing the park, correct?
Right. But like I say, like on the map here, there's an easeway. It would be right in the middle of the property.
Yep.
I mean, that we can move. Can we move that? Is that possible?
I would imagine it wouldn't be hard to move. That's the right of way, Gene, that they use to get to the cell tower. So it's just, as a matter of fact, they were in there this year and they worked on that right away quite a bit, because there's about 3 areas that had flooded. And they put a bunch of stone and fill in. So I would think the main deal here is they gotta get to their cell tower with their trucks.
Yeah, you can kind of see it, you know, just
Right.
skirts it and just goes up to the tower.
Right. See, that would be our entrance too, right here.
And that's, I've gone back through that right away. I've driven back on that road, and it's one of these deals.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, did a couple times.
No, yeah.
Now, the right of way, they didn't make it straight. It's just like that.
I'm not sure of the actual survey map.
Right.
We were over at the surveyors.
Right. Yeah, I have that.
You can see that right of way is on that survey
Right,
map, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
It shows the gravel road on the survey.
Oh yeah, right there it is.
It shows the gravel road,
Yeah.
30-foot right away, utility easement.
So it's basically that road.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, so what I could do is this is where we did outline. And if I can just come like just a little bit here, and then back here, that'll work. And we predict the water park between 750 and 1,000 people a day. And, you know, what it also does for the area, people will stay longer, give them, you know, reason to come. I mean, it's the best babysitter in the world, you know. And here, let me show you what we're gonna do.
the diagram that we have from Bernie Carr has 4 fields.
Mhm.
And obviously you can see the room we have. He's talking about putting a line someplace in here.
But we wanted to keep that track as a walking
okay.
track.
You wanna
Yeah,
keep a track.
Right. I'm just throwing this out there, it would seem to me if it, you know, this is an easement for them to get back there.
Right.
If you developed a nicer road to get over here, I think they would probably be pretty happy with that.
Right.
You know, just, they take their road and make it a more formal road.
Well, it's like, it's a path.
Right, but that says make it a more formal road.
Right, right,
Because
yeah.
You would have to do that if you went through here. So
Anyways.
what's the difference?
Yeah, oh, no,
over
no,
here?
that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they just need I mean, they could drive on the grass too, you know.
But if I owned that tower and somebody made my access to it nicer and it didn't cost me
Right,
time,
yeah, no,
I'd be pretty
yeah.
happy, you know?
Sorry, Mike, interrupted that on your back, but there may be an opportunity, I think is what you're getting at, Brent, is to put
Yes.
these 4
Yeah.
things within a slightly smaller area.
Exactly.
But one of
I
the,
wouldn't be heartbroken if we had to get rid of the track to keep moving forward.
What's that?
I said I'd-
make the tracks shorter.
Yeah, just
one of the things
reroute
that
the track if we have to.
we wanna keep in mind with this thing is, do we know how many parkings? Is this at 571? Or are these all added up to what we think we're gonna get?
That's a good question.
What I'm saying is, one of our big ideas behind this stuff is so we have ball fields and stuff for our kids to play on and families to come up to.
Right.
No offense, I love your idea of bringing commerce to the area. But what we don't want is to host a baseball tournament or baseball games or soccer games and our parents and families come up here and can't park.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's just, some technicalities I think we could probably work out.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yep.
Now this is some of the structures we're gonna have. This is multi-level play structure. This is gonna be like the centerpiece. And then this is like a splash area for kids. And, then we're gonna have like a lazy river, speed slides. Then every year, we're probably gonna add something. And, cause you have to keep it fresh. So you have to add something every year. We're not gonna have dry rides, it's gonna be water, for the water park. And,
I've heard you talk about amphitheater
right,
in that same area.
yes, yep, that same area. Yep.
So 30 acres is enough for all that,
No,
and
no, you're right. Well, it's close, but then like for the amphitheater, this is flat back here, just for the events, you can cut the grass and people can park there.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be paved. And then I'm also thinking, since back here, it'd be a great spot to put some cabins. And then we, can make a deal with the water park, you get 50% off if you stay on the cabins. And, I knew somebody that was really good friends with Tim Noonan. He owns he just died, he used to own Water Safari, and one time, the people were giving him a hard time because he was doing so much business, and I don't know if he wanted to do. So, one day he gave everybody $2 bills as change, for change. Every store had a $2 bill on it. Yeah. So, I'm excited about the area. I love it. Just can't believe this. That it's not like Lake George. I mean, there's no reason for it.
What's our next step?
Write a proposal up.
He's getting to the point where he's spending some money to put this stuff together.
Right.
So, and that's kind of what I've talked to you about a little bit, Alan, as a proposal.
Okay.
What I mentioned, and, feel free to get a hold of me, we'll talk about what we all, we're gonna need a summary of everything.
Okay. All right, I'll get all that stuff together.
Yep.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
You too. Take care. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Engineer report, Rob Campany, and the health officer
Department,
report, please.
yep.
Health is good.
Not here.
Everybody's healthy. I guess you had to close school the other day, but I guess the health isn't so good. Not a lot to report other than the bid date for the Route 12 sewer is January 11th. I think I told you the 10th, but we set the date as the 11th, and at 2 o'clock, which is a Wednesday. Sandy has the advertisement, so.
Any preliminary indication of interest from contractors?
Everybody, yep, everybody's interested right now. I think it's a good time.
Yep.
Yeah. The last few projects we put out, we've had pretty good interest, generally speaking. And prices seem to have been moderating a little bit. They're not down pre-COVID, but they're okay. So we'll see. We'll see, the proof is in the pudding. We talked to ESD. I called that fella back that had left you a voicemail. We have $500,000 from Empire State Development. I told him that we're out to bid and hopefully the project's still viable. You know, we'll see what the bids are. So he said, yep, no problem. We'll hold the money until, you know, the project's complete. So it's the first step. We're gonna open the bids, we're gonna see how much over budget we are, and then we're gonna see, where we can get the extra money to finish it. You know, it's a $4.3 million project, it's gonna be north of there, I can guarantee it. But we'll need to talk to USDA and EFC. There's the new bond act that was just passed, you know, in November. I reached out to EFC today about that. They have got no, instruction on how they're gonna administer that yet.
Not a surprise.
Yeah, which is, I had to ask the question, right?
Makes
I had to
a
ask.
paper.
They say, we know we're gonna get it, but we don't know how or when.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take 6 months for that legislation to trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different than the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act. The federal agencies still don't know how they're gonna dole that out. You know, the USDAs of the world, so it's gonna come. I have heard that the bipartisan infrastructure money, it's gonna come out over a 5-year period. And, you know, the highest need projects, the ready projects, the ones that are ready, they're gonna get the money first, and they're just gonna work their way down the list until the money's gone. So I think you're in a good position to get more money to do the job. How quickly that's gonna all happen, I can't even begin to predict. So we'll know on January 11th where those numbers come. All the pipeline contractors have been contacting me, and they want to know. They're looking for work next year, so that's good. Other than that, I don't think, you know, the Goose Bay boat launch is on hold till March or April. I'm sorry. That work will start.
Something that's going on in the village that was discussed last night with a ready project for the height of the dock. They were granted yesterday by the Department of State that they didn't have to build to 250. They let them build, they're gonna let them build, they changed it to 249.2. Only thing I'm thinking about is that concrete dock. If we can get it 8 inches lower or whatever.
Yeah. There's no set, there never has been a set. I talk to you about this.
Yeah.
You could argue, it's not like you're trying to get flood insurance for a house, right? Where you have to go by the FEMA maps, you have to be 2 feet above flood elevation. These are docks, right? You gotta use a certain amount of common sense.
The crazy thing is, Cape Vincent, 250.
Yeah.
Goose Bay, 250.
Yeah.
It's above sea level. Guess what? Goose Bay's downriver, and it downriver means downriver. It's a slope. River goes like this. So 250 in Goose Bay is higher out of the water than Cape Vincent at the same water levels, you know?
Yeah.
So to ask for, I don't know, we're looking at 250 will be great in 2017 and great in 2019. But all those years before and since then,
Absolutely, so it's bad.
wicked, yeah.
So I think we're only raising Goose Bay to 49, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're not asking,
I was gonna say, I thought that we were 249 there.
yeah, that's.
And
what
when the
we're going
village
from
said last
48,
night that they were 250, I'd never heard anybody say 250.
No,
It's a well, I originally was told that it was a floating dock, the Upper Village dock, it was a floating dock. So it was a shock when we found out that it was gonna be fixed out almost to the pavilion,
And
you
I
know?
think the reason they got the permission to lower it was because when you walk by the bait stand, and you're walking
Well, the bait
along,
stand used to
in
be-
order to go to 250,
Gotta go up.
it's ridiculous, it's just like the Howland Street boat ramp, go up and down. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot, and it's a boat dock, and I guess the big thing is, you gotta realize the risk, yeah, if we have another 248 year, 248.9 year, you're gonna have to make temporary measures to
Right.
accommodate it, but,
For 5 or 6 months, and in the next
Yeah.
20 years,
yeah, exactly.
you don't have to
So,
deal with it.
It's common sense.
Yeah.
But they never dictated the elevation of dock that I know of.
So but long story short, Goose Bay's at 249.
Well, I'd have to look at the plans, it's not 250, I don't think, I'll look at it.
I guess the question would be, if it is at 250, can we ask for 249?
Yeah,
that's
sure,
why I brought it up.
Yeah.
no, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I'll double check, Ronnie, and what it
Okay.
is, but I don't think it was. Cause Goose Bay is in an inland area anyway, and you don't see the surge like you do, you know, when you get a westerly wind, when it's piling water out of the lake, Goose Bay doesn't see it, even like Alex Bay does. They don't see the surge, 6 or 8 inch surge. I'll double check the level that we called for.
Okay, anything else, Rob?
I can't think of anything,
Okay.
unless you have a question.
Okay, we'll move on then. Grant reports are done. Highway, somebody, you got that report right in front of you, somebody? I have it right here. Yep. Not very much to report this month. I've been in contact with FEMA. All the proper documentation has been submitted for 75% of the cost for the last storm. The men have been installing reflectors along the roadsides. I'm gonna go back and explain the 75%. So there was an emergency declaration made by the governor. It means that there's FEMA money available for the snowstorm. We submitted all the paperwork. Mike submitted all the paperwork, which was a lot of paperwork, and I believe he's got about $37,000 worth of expenses on his paperwork. The men have been installing reflectors along the roadsides. This should help everyone with the winter and night visibility. The men are preparing their trucks for the coming storm. Greg and the men are making stainless steel brackets and welding them in place. Zach's age sander has developed stress cracks and needs attention. The fix will see it to the sander lasts much longer. Thank you, Mike. Zoning report. Norris was gonna be here, but I don't see him, so if he comes in, we'll let him talk. Teamsters. Got your name on this one, Ron, that's because
Yeah.
you were a negotiator, I
Just
guess.
curious, okay.
Default.
So I think I've talked to everybody.
I'm getting a sweatshirt?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're requesting a $55 sweatshirt in exchange for a $70 jacket.
That's what the request is?
Yep.
And the jacket is part of the
I
contract?
believe they're allowed 2 jackets, so they would take one of the jackets and change it to a sweatshirt.
We're gonna, and because it's part of the contract, it has to be some kind of a,
We'd have to do an
You'd have to amend it
MOU.
because, just like we're doing the other one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it could both be done at the same time, right? So I guess the question is, does the board have a problem with that? Changing a $70 coat for a $55?
I don't have a problem with that.
There's one sweatshirt and one coat, but yeah.
Yeah.
Motion or resolution, motion would be fine for that? Just to accept the, well, and then we're gonna have to put an MOU together.
Yeah. Cause is the,
And Mr. Silver's gonna be here tonight, so we can talk to him about that,
okay,
okay?
so you need that in a motion?
We need to do,
Take a motion to,
pending,
exchange the $50 sweatshirt for a $70 jacket
No,
in the
reverse
union
that.
contract.
$70 jacket. for
$70 jacket for
$55 sweatshirt.
$55.
Yeah.
but pending the
I'll second.
MOU from,
First by Ron, second by Gene, any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Jamie, I don't see. You're usually here too. You have anything for the arena? Sean, I got a couple small things. Sent the bills out for September and October. Sent those out, today. And, I've got the bills for November pretty much done. They have to be put in the template for our billing. I think we'll do that in the next couple of days. So I've been working with Dennis on the bills, showing him how to put the program. I just put a template on his laptop and he just punches in the numbers. Like I said, those bills went out today. Other than that, what else is going on at the rink?
Chad started?
Yeah, he started, Chad McCauley, doing a good job. Dennis is very happy with him, says he does a great job.
Good.
Picked up the Zamboni, real easy. Everything that's going on down there, he's very good with.
Good deal.
Youth program, Sean?
I don't really have much there, to be honest with you. Our current youth coordinator, I believe her last day is Wednesday.
It was last week.
Last Wednesday?
Yep.
You sure?
we are
Put it this way,
advertising.
I know
Yeah,
we
we were
are.
advertising, I think, but we had her noticed, but shifting hands pretty much is where we're at
Yeah.
right now with that, and that's great.
Unless you want it lower.
Yep.
Where we're at.
Okay.
Okay, I think certainly.
Okay, we have,
Do we have applications?
Yes.
I have one application.
Okay, thank you.
yep. Chuck, we have one application, is that right? Yep.
Rob just was looking at the prints for Goose Bay, and right now it's at 248.05, and it calls to raise it to 249, unless we wanted to ask. I mean, what did it finally get to in the Bay, in 2019?
About 248.7.
Right. And I mean, I'm not real familiar with Goose Bay as far as wave buildup and stuff, but, on the river, you got a lot, like, let's say the Upper Village Dock, you got the prevailing wind and stuff, and there can be rovers coming in there. So the problem is on the windy days. I don't know if that's affected as much in Goose Bay or not.
Pretty
The
protected.
problem is you gotta live X number of years with this height, and out of those X number of years, a tiny percentage is when the height's a problem. So I guess the question is, if we wanna try for less than 249, now would be the time to make that decision.
What's your opinion, Rob?
So we're raising about 10 inches, 11 inches.
That's what it is, right, that's what it's proposed right now.
Basically put a 10-inch channel around it.
Dock will be unusable during the fall.
You know, we did have, you could put a floating boarding dock in next to the ramp, so you back your trailer into your boat, you get onto the boarding dock, and you can get out, you know, onto the
Well,
other
I was gonna say, 'cause
water.
when we were down there, what we were talking about doing, because of this situation, was just as he's saying, and have a floating dock that rides up and down.
Like a 2-foot wide floating dock.
Yeah, right next
Rides up and down next to it, when you need it, right?
Right,
If it is, you know, during low water years.
yep.
It's a crapshoot, I guess, right?
Right.
I don't think 49's unreasonably high. There's a lot of docks at 49.
What'd you say it is now?
48.05, just a hair off
So
48.
it's basically a foot.
Yeah, we raised it about
That's a lot.
11 inches.
This is what the water levels we got right now, I guess, yeah.
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 Yeah, so it's up to you. I mean, we did pick the 249 based on what it was in Alex Bay in 2019, which was, you know, 48.7 or something like that. So there's just like 3 inches of freeboard over it from what the levels were in 19. 19 was worse than 7
Right.
by a little bit. We don't have to make that decision tonight, but you can think about it.
So the existing dock down there right now is at 248.05.
Correct.
So if somebody wanted to go down there in the next couple days with a ruler or whatever, tape measure, you'd see it. You'd see how far it is out of the water and then add another foot to
Do you
it.
know anybody that does stuff like that?
I've heard,
Okay.
yeah. Anything else to do?
I can do it this time.
So our
Excuse me.
existing concrete dock is 248.05?
Correct.
Yeah, because even when it was high water, it only just barely went over.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, there were days, depending on how the wind blows, that it might have been 3-4 inches over.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gene, you were probably there more than any of us.
I put it right back the way it is.
Use that launch a lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it was definitely underwater. I was down there
Yeah.
in '09. It was
Couple
underwater.
inches.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep,
You could make a decision later about what to do. Even if you only wanna raise it over 4 inches. It's just a matter of how big a channel you put around the outside, and how much concrete you wanna deck it with.
Right.
I'm sure we could negotiate that with the contractor. And I'm sure the Ready Commission, if we justified it, they'd be fine with it. They just wanna see the money gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
okay. Next item is a resolution that everybody has in front of them, the Board of Assessment Review. I'm gonna introduce this resolution. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Alexandria, New York, hereby appoints Phil Felicia to fill the unexpired term of Sean Thomas on the Board of Assessment Review effective immediately until September 30th, 2024. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of Alexandria, New York hereby appoints Mike Shannon to a vacant term on the Board of Assessment Review effective immediately until September 30th, 2027. I introduced it. Need a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Sean. Sandy?
Roll call vote, Supervisor Brunt, please.
Yes.
Mike, yes.
Yes.
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Kring,
Yes.
Councilman Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passed, resolution passed. Junkyard review, date and time. Talked to Norris about it. We've got a lot of people calling about this. I'd just like to set up a date where some board members and Norris and Ron and a few people get together and look at this junk law one more time. I've been over it with Ron and Norris a couple times and found couple little things that we want to change. Our biggest concern, Andy, in relation to that junk law is, are we covering everything? Because, you've got a lot of stuff in there, and we just need to, my opinion is we need to have it generic enough to catch all the little stuff.
Right.
And between the words junk and everything else you've got in there, hopefully we got it. I just want to see if anybody thinks we're missing anything, or we've forgotten something, or whatever.
That's good.
But I'd like to set a date, and we're gonna review this and come up with a final draft, which I think, from what I've said, is gonna be very close to what we got right now. I think somebody wanted to add a power machinery or something else to the list.
Yeah, if there are specific problems that are persistent within the town, we can add whatever language, those definitions we need to broaden them enough to make sure we're capturing that activity. It's all right?
The one other thing I was thinking of here is that, we should consult or reach out to our judges. And one of our judges is a lawyer, so I thought that maybe I'd have, which I can send it to him, or have you send it to him, send it to one of our judges, just to have them take a look at it, because this is the purpose of this whole thing, was we were going in front of our attorneys, and our attorneys said the law wouldn't hold up in court.
Yeah, there was no
That's when I
provision to
contacted
enforce
you.
it. That's right, right. So, yeah, if the judges will take a look at it,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah, for sure. More eyes, the better.
It'd be nice to have that answer before we put the thing into motion and we find out that there's something that they don't like.
That's right.
You know, so I'd like to get their blessing.
That's not a bad idea.
No problem.
It's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah.
I would ask them first about whether or not they'd be willing to do that instead of just sending them the law. You might want to
Okay.
ask them first. I don't know some judges might say, well, if there's not a controversy in front of me, maybe I shouldn't be interpreting anything, and other judges would be fine doing it, so I would just extend them the courtesy by asking them first. I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Brad, I have two other little items I just thought of. Number one, we did receive the grant for the planning for the Otter Street sewer. I don't know if we talked about that last month.
20,
I was
30.
the only one at the meeting last month at 6:05. But you did receive the $20,000 money, grant from EFC to help with the Otter Street sewer planning, so that is a grant.
What kind of money will the Otter Street cost as far as the design and what the grant covers?
Well, this is just a
Planning grant.
engineering planning grant for
Right.
20 grand. So it's gonna cover your district formation costs and, you know, to do the engineering report so you can submit for funding. As far as the project, you know, is it $1.5 million, $2 million probably to do Otter Street? I don't know. I mean, that'll be part of the engineering report. We'll come up with that estimated cost. And then you do the district formation, and then we can apply for funding using the report that's produced from that.
Okay.
So, I didn't know if everybody knew that or not.
No, didn't.
So that's gonna move along over the
Okay.
next few
Good.
months. The other piece is, bond counsel, Attorney Silver, I don't know, but we'll need bond counsel to be involved in a Route 12 sewer project and the Otter Street at some point. Now, Joe did obviously, the preliminary bond documents, but anticipating a change in project cost for Route 12, we're gonna have to engage bond counsel to modify the bond, you know, the bond resolution. So you should think about who you wanna use, and we'll need an agreement with them to submit to the funding agencies ultimately. I don't know how familiar you are with it.
When would that need to be in place?
So we're gonna open bids on January 10th, okay, for the project. This is a project along Route 12, basically, from just this side of the bridge to the Otter Street. So it's projected to be about a $4.5 million project. It's probably gonna be north of that with the increase in cost. All right, so you have a bond resolution, I think, for 4.5 right now. So as soon as we open bids on the 10th, we'll review it, we'll come up with a number, whatever that project cost is going to end up being ultimately. We'll have to modify our district formation report, and then we'll have to do revised bond resolution documents based on whatever that number is. Okay. So it will happen probably in as early as late January or early February, because we won't be able to be considered for additional funding until the bond resolution has been modified. So get the number, then we modify the engineering, the district formation report, then we modify the bond resolution sometime late winter.
Okay.
Okay, so think about that.
Okay.
That's all. Sorry.
Okay, we didn't set a date, did we? No.
No.
We gotta set a date for this review meeting, date and a time. Like I said, I'm thinking 2 board members and a couple of guys from the zoning. Anybody else wants to get in on the deal? So I need a volunteer to be another board member to sit in on this.
Probably be available Tuesday or Wednesday of next week without a problem.
Okay.
Or any time after that, up until the 28th of December.
Okay. Then I'll talk to Norris and Ron tomorrow and set a firm date and a time. We don't have to do it through the meeting. And I'll set that up with those guys.
Okay.
I talked to them yesterday about it. Okay. Resolution to allow a supervisor to sign the 3% raise. So Andy, this is just a resolution to allow me to. This is not what the actual wording of the agreement's gonna be that you're gonna put together for us.
Are there open contract negotiations right now?
No,
No.
no. This would, according to the union people, this could be a simple MOU.
Right, and what is the town getting in return? We're giving them a raise, right?
Well,
The contract negotiations the contract is not open, right? The collective bargaining agreement is probably in midterm, right?
Right.
And they are getting a 3% raise. What are we getting in return?
They're getting a 3% raise in the existing contract that is closed, and we gave the rest of our employees a 6% raise, so we're giving them an additional 3%, so they have 6%. And we're getting nothing in return.
The non-unionized employees.
No, this is the union.
This is for the union.
Right, but was there another group of employees that you gave a raise to as well?
Non-union.
Non-union employees, so you're doing this to match them? Checks haven't been written yet.
No. It's January 1,
January 1.
effective, 1 year.
All right, let's, we might wanna chat about that in executive session as well.
Okay.
We can come out of executive session and make
For this.
Yeah.
Okay. Sandy's been doing a lot of work on the bank statements and the accounts and everything that's going on in the town clerk's office. She's found a tax collector account that has been inactive for how long, Sandy? 2, 3, 4 years?
Just within the desk stuff, that's mainly where I'm concentrating in right now. I have a bank statement back to August of 2020, and there has been 0 activity in the bank account since then. When I went to my training on tax collection last week, I asked the trainer for taking it in, and she was like, that's not my area, so I did contact the deputy treasurer at the county and spoke with her, and I said, is there a reason for us to have a checking account and a savings account? Because this one is a savings account. And she said, back in the old days, they used to have a savings when banks actually paid interest on savings accounts. But the reality is, for the tax collector, I start in January, and by the middle of May, everything is balanced out, and the money is either paid to the town supervisor or to the county. And then after that, the regular checking account goes back to $1, and then it stays there until next tax year. This savings account has had $175 in it for the last 2 years. Technically, that should have been turned over to the supervisor. When I asked the deputy at the county, she said, you know, it's up to us, we can have it, but what's it being used for? And she did say the money should have been transferred out. So, in my eyes, close it to one less account that's sitting there. It's such a short period of time that, you know, and immediately is one of the questions I asked was, you know, is there a payment schedule that I need to pay them, how often, et cetera. And she said, there's not anything set. She said, bottom line is look at your, what's the word I want? It tells everything that I pay to, the warrant. She said, look at your warrant. The town gets paid first. She said, don't even worry about the county. The town gets made whole first. So everything, you know, back taxes, whatever, we get made whole first. She said, after that, if you want to pay every 2 weeks or every week or once a month, if you want to pay every time you get $250,000, she said, that's totally up to you. In the end, when you come to balance, she said, make sure your shit's right, because you're going to pay me what you owe me. I said, okay. I said, I got it.
Wow.
But she seemed, you know, no, she didn't really give her opinion one way or another. She just said she didn't really see a reason, and in my eyes, I don't see a reason for having it.
So as the money comes in, the town gets 100% of the money until what they're owed is achieved.
Right.
And then after that, you start remitting to the county.
Correct.
So, yeah, so it doesn't sit very long.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
No. So I need a motion to close that account. Motion by Sean, second by Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. So we close that. I'm bouncing around here, what do I got?
End of your meeting?
I wanna go to the records management officer, we need to appoint a records management officer, which has been in the past the town clerk, which usually is the town clerk. I'll make a motion, we appoint Sandy as the record management officer.
Second it.
Second by Sean, any discussion?
No, can we all second it? No, sorry.
All
No,
those
it's just nice
all those
to
in
have
favor signify by
somebody
saying aye.
here. Aye.
All those opposed, none. What'd you say, Sean, what's the next one there? Oh, the end of the year meeting. Anybody have a preference on that? We got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. Or
This is, no, this is
weeks.
not next week, this week after.
2 weeks.
I don't know if I'll be here any of those days.
It's really kind of a formality that she tightens, close everything up.
It's critical to have.
But it's gonna be,
Yeah,
we need to have the financials.
yeah.
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 So
So
rather
I'm,
not have it on the 30th.
Well, I won't be here after the 28th,
What day is the 28th?
That Wednesday.
2 Wednesdays from now.
Will you do it on Wednesday? Wednesday's okay for you?
No, you just said.
He said after the 28th.
Right.
I leave at 6 o'clock in the morning on
the
the
collection guy's going at it.
I could do the interpretation deal.
I did too, yes.
You will?
Let me rephrase that, I won't be here after the 27th.
That's better.
There we go.
I
Now we got
understood it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you guys pick. I'm here every day, so it doesn't matter to me.
I'm flexible on those, I mean, what I'm thinking is, let's say we set it for the 28th, the numbers aren't gonna be ready to the 29th, we could come in, open the meeting, adjourn it to the next day, just so we keep up with the open meeting law or whatever. Just a thought.
I'll
because-
second that.
So we're gonna schedule it for the 28th.
28th, yeah. I'll make a motion to
28th, at what
28th.
time? 4 o'clock, the earlier ones we've been doing? Is that okay?
It's just gonna be the three of us, right? So
Well, I
whatever.
can call in.
Okay,
Or we can do it at 10 o'clock? You guys
10
tell
o'clock
me.
I can't call in.
okay. What time
10
works for
o'clock
you?
I'll be on a plane. 4
4 o'clock?
o'clock would be fine.
Okay, 4 o'clock on the 28th?
So I take a motion to have a meeting on the 28th at 4 o'clock. Motion by Sean, second by Mike. Any discussion?
No?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. So can you tell Mike Lasan, we got a 4 o'clock, 12/28 deadline?
I sure can. I sure can. Have I forgotten anything since I've bounced around here?
No,
No,
executive
Got
session.
I did
everything?
add something to mine, to mine that's not on yours. Can we do a Christmas party for the employees? Even if it's just a lunch in here?
Can't do one.
Why?
Because whatever you offer to the employees, you have to offer to every single taxpayer. What? Quote unquote.
Really?
You telling me you can't do a potluck?
You could
From
probably do a
11:30
Christmas
to
party if
1.
the town didn't pay for one dime of it. I don't know if you could do it in this building. Last time we looked into this, remember, you have to invite every taxpayer. Remember being told that?
Okay, so who says the town has to pay for it?
That's why I just said.
She just said a pot,
Yeah.
you know, everybody brings.
I'm gonna tell you that I've talked to 2 other towns here recently, and they're doing it, they do it, in one form or another. Now, whether the supervisor antes up a couple $100 and we get something from the thing, I will tell you from being in this office for the last 2 weeks, this is a very non-friendly environment to work in. You've got the court clerks that stay locked in their offices, that never leave the doors open. Everybody's shut off. I mean, we all talk to each other and we're friendly-ish, but the town guys don't come in. If they do, they go straight to Nicole. There's just not a environment of cohesiveness. And I think we need to take a step to stop that, and to make things better. Just my thought. If you're telling me we can't do it, I don't agree.
Andy, do you have any?
So there are some extremely picky comptrollers' opinions that were written about 8-10 years ago. Municipalities were replacing employees' glasses or buying them gift cards for certain things, and the comptroller said that that's an impermissible gift of public funds. You know, a potluck lunch where everybody brings their own, and the municipality's not expending any of its resources, is probably gonna be okay. You know, it does seem like a small thing, but I think when this town starts writing checks, that's when the comptroller would, if they found out about it, right? But the right answer is the technical one, and that is, you can't be using public monies for things you're not supposed to.
Okay.
We're on
So putting the
video, I
billboards
encourage a
problem.
potluck if you do it.
What'd you say?
So we're on video, now I encourage the potluck.
Yeah, right.
Just the potluck.
So people
Go on the
bring their
record,
lunch
I
and get
agree with
together
you.
with the $1
Okay, and while you're bringing that up, the next thing we have to plan for a party is a retirement party for Byron after first of the year.
Well,
Everybody on board for that?
yeah, cause I was thinking about him, partly I was thinking about him when I was thinking about this. Are we doing anything for him?
Well, if you go into deep planning about this, I would make sure that everyone can actually make it. That's a lot of the problem. I mean, who's gonna be at the transfer site, right? So
Yeah.
probably wanna make it a day that's closed and everyone can,
Tuesday or Thursday.
wanna make sure it's not
Yeah,
snowing.
but should, do you
Well,
think the
I like
retirement
guys
party
can
should be
make it.
after he retires?
Well, yeah, I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, we just need to think about it, and I think we should definitely plan one and do something.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all I have. Does anybody have anything else?
No. Make a motion, we go into executive session.
You gotta list the,
Gotta do what?
you have to when you go into executive session, you gotta list.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I had we're going to executive session to discuss employment of current employees, union negotiations, and litigation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make that motion.
Motion by Ron, second by Sean, any discussion?
Did it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Closer to the gray areas than the black and white.
Yeah,